Welcome to What's in Season at Ingles Markets. At Ingles, we're always making sure you have the best selection of products and services all year round. With over 200 Ingles locations in 6 southeastern states, we strive on growing a healthy community. Join us as we journey on a road trip with Ingles chef Abby J to one of the many farm producers, artisans, and companies that make shopping at Ingles the best. Now here's your host, Chef Abby J.
Welcome to What's in Season, and today I'm in Duffield, Virginia, one of the smallest towns in Virginia. It may be a small town, but it's got a big heart for community, and I'm with Robin Robbins and Matt Smith with Appalachian Harvest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abby, and thank you, Ingles.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out today. And you have a history, Robin, here with Ingles Markets. And tell us about how this got started.
Well, Appalachian Harvest is a network of small family farmers, and we come together at our food hub, and we put orders together for valued buyers like Ingles. The relationship with Ingles and Appalachian Harvest is really parallel. Ingles is the gold standard for community, and I feel like Appalachian Harvest is one of the gold standards for community. So just as Ingles started in rural communities, that's how Appalachian Harvest started. We help farmers in rural communities get product to the facility. We get it cleaned and packed, and we ship it to Ingles. And we couldn't be prouder to have more individuals in our lives like the Ingles family, from the docks to the produce office to the markets to the corporate office. They treat you like family. You are not Farmer 2 at door 67. You're Appalachian Harvest, and that's what's beautiful about the relationship.
That is wonderful. That's so exciting, and you've got a number of farmers that do this. Tell us about how you came about getting the farmers and involved in this.
Appalachian Harvest was based on the premise of the tobacco buyout because we were typically tobacco territory. Right. And we did not want to leave land that was going to be fallow, and farmers needed a way to have an extra income source. And in today's economy, it not only takes 2 incomes, but a supplemental income, and we'd like to make farmers utilize their land in a sustainable way that they can have an additional income. Ingles is the reason why we're able to do that, because without buyers, we can't recruit farmers to grow for the network to produce product for consumers. And so the value behind being able to get young, interested farmers like Matt energized to produce for Appalachian Harvest and then come here to the facility and utilize the infrastructure to get it to Ingles supermarkets is just a blessing. I mean, it's an honor to be able to put all these little pieces together to make it one big community.
Right, and we must thank a farmer. We've got Matt Smith here, and what do you grow for Ingles?
I grow butternut squash and spaghetti squash.
So what got you into farming?
Well, we were part of the tobacco, and then we had a bunch of land with nothing to do with and not a lot of upfront money to put into, say, cattle. And so this was something that we could afford to jump into.
What do you like most about being a part of this network?
It's a second family. You know, I talk to these people as much as I do most of my regular family. So we all work together, and we all have the same goal of making the trucks so that we can all continue to farm.
You make a great partnership for Ingles, community driven, and that's what I really admire, giving your heart and making it like family, like he says, because Ingles is very family oriented, and we're going to go inside the packing house now to see exactly how you do it.
Stay with us. More What's in Season at Ingles Markets coming up with Chef Abby J and her guest. We'll be right back.
At Ingles, we have a very special family. A family of farmers, ranchers, and dairymen. Clerks, butchers, and bakers. Deli workers, pharmacists, and florists. We work hard every day to bring you the very best. And we'll continue to wake up every morning and work as hard as you do. This is our town, and we built this community together. Ingles, your neighbor for over 50 years.
Welcome back, and here we are at the packing house at Appalachian Harvest, and I see these beautiful spaghetti squash. Robin, tell us about the spaghetti squash and who the farmers are.
Well, the fruits of our labor are sitting right here on the table. And I'm excited to introduce Bread and Morning. She's actually taking pictures of the product that's going to Ingles.
Right.
Kevin McNew that helps the farmers here unload and grade at the packing house. And we're proud to have one of our farmers and also facility assistant manager, Adam Pendleton from Pendleton and Lyons Farms. And they grow spaghetti squash, butternut, and pumpkins for Ingles.
Well, you've got a beautiful team here, a hard-working team, I'm sure, and you guys have done a great job with the farm this year. I know Ingles markets are really going to really take advantage of doing some really great recipes. We're going to go down to my farm and really create some really nice recipes with the butternut, the spaghetti squash, and the acorn squash.
Well, the exciting thing is, Abby, is not only do we get to see the process of the plants being planted, the hard work of the facility getting ready to receive the farmers, and the Appalachian Harvest team pitching in when farmers show up to help them get their product ready to market, but then we also have partners like you that actually feature it to show folks how this fruit of their labor can be eaten and consumed. You can consume local, and winter squash will last about 9 months if you store it properly. So you can eat local winter squash most of the winter time and out into the spring. And
Well,
with your recipes, we're excited about that because we actually have so much more variety to offer with the recipes that you feature using our products.
Stay with us. More What's in Season at Ingles Markets coming up with Chef Abby J and her guest. We'll be right back.
In small towns like Hayesville, North Carolina, Toccoa, Georgia, and Oak Ridge, Tennessee, big careers starting and staying at home may seem unlikely. But at Ingles, we promote from within, building a community as well as a business. Our next executive might have helped you carry out your groceries today. We sure hope so. Ingles, your neighbor for over 50 years.
Welcome back to What's in Season. I'm with Smokin' Joe, and Joe, what are we doing?
I'm so glad to be here. You know, you spent a lot of time on the pumpkin patch this morning looking at some amazing pumpkins. So what I decided to do is I've taken some pie pumpkins that I picked up at the Ingles Produce. We've roasted those. I took the insides out and pureed them. And I'm gonna make a spicy pumpkin soup.
Gosh,
or creamy.
I love spice, and I know this is going to be delicious. I can smell the onions. You got onions?
Yep, got it in the
there?
cast iron skillet. I've got a whole yellow onion. I've chopped that or diced that pretty small. I've got it in about 3 tablespoons of butter, and we're cooking those till they're just translucent, which they're about ready. I'm gonna go ahead and take my pumpkin, and like I said, I've already pureed this, and we can talk about roasting pumpkins. I actually did mine on the smoker. I took
Nice.
the pie pumpkins, took 2 of them, cut them in half. It can be a little challenging to cut in half because they're
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are just intimidated by the hard shell and
Yes.
what to do with it, you know. But you've done a good job.
well,
with it.
I've
And
roasted this one just a bit. We're actually going to use this as a nice little soup bowl today.
It makes
but
a gorgeous presentation.
Oh, it does. Well, and you can take the insides out and put those in your food processor or blender like I've done and puree that after you smoke it or roast it in the oven just with olive oil and a little bit of salt. So I've put about 2 cups of pumpkin in there. I've got almost a little over 2 cups of a chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth if you'd like. And I'm just going to stir this in. Now, I like to use an immersion blender when I have one. But here we're just going to kind of stir this in.
Oh, and cast iron. Oh, you know, this.
Well,
this
we're out on
smells-
black.
You know,
I
this
know.
smells just like fall, and what a great recipe, and to warm you up on those cold nights or days.
Well,
I know I'll be making it for my fishermen.
That's it.
because-
They're going to
yeah.
love this. And this, we've got a blend of ground cinnamon, some nutmeg, some ground cloves, some salt, pepper, and almost a full tablespoon of cayenne pepper.
Nice.
So I know Abby J, we like things smoking hot. you and I do.
Well, I like it full of flavor. It doesn't have
Well,
to be.
that's not
you
heat,
know,
flavor heat,
right?
but, you know.
A lot of people think a lot of my dishes are hot, but it's really about the
No.
flavor, and that's the
I agree. I'm glad
Yeah.
you pointed that out, because this is not going to be burn your
right.
mouth.
Smoking hot is just a terminology where you really want to try it, you
Well,
know,
it's
instead
flavor,
of
man.
yeah,
It's
it
flavor.
is full of flavor.
So I'm going to cut the heat down on this to low, down to low,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to mix in the rest of our ingredients.
And I think it's just popping out of the pan,
It's
and I
popping
can't
out.
wait to
Oh,
try
it's-
this,
it's
Joe.
gonna be so good.
So we'll be right back.
From all of us at Ingles, we just want to say thanks so much for your support. Because when you support us, you're supporting hundreds of local farms and businesses in the states we call home. You see, that's where we source as much of our food as possible. From our local dairies to grass-fed beef to organic produce to bakeries just around the corner. We really are one team and one community. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
We're back, and
Can
it
you-
smells
Well, you
so
can smell
good.
that nutmeg and that cinnamon and the ground cloves in there. So to finish this off, we've let it simmer down and those flavors meld. We're going to put about a half a cup or so of heavy cream to just really cream this
Get
up.
it really
And again, with a whisk or a blender, you can really blend this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're going to put a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup.
oh yum.
And Laura Lynn brand
makes
is
it-
awesome.
The sweetness, the spiciness, what a great flavor combination,
Are
Joe.
you kidding? It's going to be amazing.
It's
So we're
better
just-
than cooking, you know, you're used to cooking a lot of meat, but this, I'm so impressed.
Well, thank you. Well, you can't go to the pumpkin patch and not do a pumpkin. For me, a
Right.
spicy pumpkin soup. And of course, I said spicy. We talked about the heat. You can totally leave that out. If you know,
Right.
I just like a little bit of bite, and anything creamy or sweet like a pumpkin soup like this.
One more
I
thing,
love it.
though, other than the soups and the things that Jasmine made today, everybody likes to carve. They like to carve the jack-o'-lantern. So
Well, let me tell you, my granddaughters and I have a 4-year-old and 2-year-old granddaughter. We love to go to the Ingles produce department. We pick out a great jack-o'-lantern and go back, and the time together carving that pumpkin is just awesome.
yeah, it's
with
just the
them.
season for that.
It's
and
such a fun
what
time.
a-
Those little girls are awesome.
I think these pumpkin squash, it just brings family together, and Ingles has all of these nice, wonderful pumpkins for everybody to enjoy.
It's amazing. In fact, we just went to the store just recently and carved a great jack-o'-lantern. So the girls we're so excited for that.
I like doing it and putting a candle, you know, on my table over there. It's just festive. And anyway,
So we've got this nice and blended, okay?
Okay.
Let's go ahead and plate it up for presentation. At this point, you could cut the heat, let it settle for a bit. But what we're gonna do is I've just got the heat off of there, or on low heat. I've got a ladle. What I've done is I've roasted this pumpkin shell.
That's
You don't
so
want to
beautiful.
over roast it so
I
the
love
skin will.
that.
Can
I
you
love that.
look how
I'm gonna,
beautiful
I'm
that
gonna
is?
make that.
Well, it's a great way to impress your guests.
It is.
And so we're going to take some of this creamy pumpkin soup, just like so. We're going to put it right in here,
Nice.
just like that. What I like to do for a topping is I have a little more heavy cream right here.
Oh my goodness.
And I like to just take and put a little bit across
You're
the
just
top.
gonna- oh,
Makes a little nice little
nice.
white design. Then I've got some roasted pumpkin seeds. I actually didn't roast these myself. I didn't take time to do it. These are available at Ingles in the snack department,
You're
actually.
trying to say booyah.
Booyah. Watch this. So we put these
So-
spicy roasted pumpkin seeds right there. And then I couldn't do it without a little bit of protein. So
I
I've
cannot
got some
believe it. He brought the
crispy-
bacon. You brought the bacon. How could you?
crispy bacon bits. That's the way I like it. So this could be a totally vegan
Give
dish,
me
though,
that.
if you don't want more. But here we are. So we've got a spicy, creamy pumpkin soup in a pumpkin bowl with some roasted pumpkin
You know what?
seeds.
I'm impressed. This is so beautiful, and I think this will impress all your guests this fall season. Thank you for doing a wonderful job.
Listen, thank you for including me in what's in season at Ingles.
Absolutely.
And I just have a blast doing it.
And we'll be right back.
Stay with us. More What's in Season at Ingles Markets coming up with Chef Abby J and her guest. We'll be right back.
Here at Ingles, we know that you're probably cooking from home a little more than usual these days, so we have assembled an amazing collection of hundreds of easy-to-prepare recipes. They're all waiting for you at the Ingles table, available at ingles-markets.com. Watch Sarah Elizabeth as she shares Grandma Fern's lasagna, or join Chef Derek St. Romain for some Cajun beef tenderloin. They're easy to make and yield great leftovers. So join us at the Ingles table, online at ingles-markets.com.
Welcome back to What's in Season. And after visiting that farm, Appalachian Harvest does so much to help the farmers, community, and what a great partner to have with Ingles Markets.
It really is, and you know, they have the community outlook just like Ingles does, which just I love that about them.
It was wonderful, so wonderful. And here we are, we're gonna show, or Jasmine's gonna show us a nutritional value of some of the different things they grow.
That's right. You know, I have a lot of different varieties of squash here, and it is squash season right now. So this is a perfect time to start making all these wonderful recipes.
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of people that go into Ingles, they look at all these things, but they really don't know what to do with them.
Sure, yeah. It's kind of intimidating when you see so many different options that, you know, you just really don't know what the differences are and what you should use each of them for.
Right.
So that's what I'm here for today.
Yeah, exactly. So what are we doing?
All right, so I'm going to start over here with the acorn squash. Now, acorn squash is probably one of the highest in calories as far as squash go. It's about 115 calories per cup.
But you know, Jasmine, you made a point there. None of these have really many calories.
Correct.
And they're very healthy. So if you're looking for a healthier way to eat, this is the way to go.
It sure is. I mean, they're packed with vitamins, they're packed with minerals, so, you know, it really outweighs 115 calories really isn't that much anyway.
Right.
You know?
It's better than a baked potato, right?
Exactly. And with the acorn squash, you're, you know, best for like roasting and stuffing. It's a good hearty squash, so you can really use it to, you know, roast. I like to chop it up and put it in salads.
That looks so pretty there.
This was so easy. All it is some herbs and some cheese baked on here.
Yeah,
but what a
let's
great,
see.
look, isn't it beautiful?
Oh, wow. I mean, this could be just a little appetizer.
It sure could. It
Yeah,
sure could. And you know,
nice.
you can eat the skin if you want. So, I mean, you wouldn't even have to peel off the skin to eat that.
So the skin has nutritional value.
Of course,
too.
yeah. And then moving on, we have butternut squash here. So I made pot stickers out of this. So butternut squash has about 82 calories per cup. And you can substitute that if you have stuff that you put pumpkin in. Butternut squash is a great substitute for pumpkin. So if you wanted to make a smoothie, you could have a butternut squash smoothie. Or you could do, butternut squash is really good for soups.
So this is your butternut right here. So
it is, yes.
You can stuff it just like the spaghetti
you
squash,
sure could. Yeah,
right?
you sure could. You know, butternut squash is less stringy than a lot of the other squashes, so it blends really well to make your soups.
Right.
And that's really what I like to use butternut squash for, but this
That
is
looks so good.
delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, delicious. And then we have the spaghetti squash, and we're looking at about 42 calories per cup there. So really, like hardly any calories in that. And spaghetti squash is a really good substitute for spaghetti.
Well, you did an amazing job. What did we stuff this with?
So this is stuffed with roasted pine nuts, feta, some lemon juice, and some basil. So simple, so fresh.
So you could, you know, if you didn't like feta, you could do Parmesan, you could do, and then you could roast it again, right?
Yeah, you sure could. You should, like anywhere you would use spaghetti, spaghetti squash is a wonderful substitute.
So out of the three, which one do you like the best?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Spaghetti squash, just because it really does take the place of spaghetti. So that's an easy recipe to come up with, right? Because anything that you would use noodles for, just use spaghetti squash for.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have, out of each one of these, we have seeds.
Yes. So the seeds, you can roast these just like you can pumpkin seeds. And it's so easy to do. They're filled, oh my gosh, with so much fiber and protein that these are going to keep you full for a long time. Put them on salads, use them as a snack, put them in a little Ziploc and carry them around with you. You know, if
So
you
with
get
the
hungry.
protein, it fills you up. With the seeds, and you baked them in sea salt, or?
I did. I boiled them with some salt, and then I baked them with just different spices. This one has fennel on it. I don't know if you've ever
nice.
put that on.
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, so
Oh,
good.
I
so
can't
good.
wait to try that.
And this is kind of like a little spicy version here, so I just
Right.
made two different ones. But I just think they're a great snack.
You know, Jasmine, I can see how you grill this, and I'm familiar with the acorn, but really, how do you cook this? Because I know when people go into the store, I'm a chef, I know how to do it.
Right.
But If you're trying to tell someone how to really cook and make this, how do you do that?
So the way I made this one is I just sliced it in half. I took out the seeds. I put a little olive oil, a little oregano on it,
Right.
and put it in the oven for about 40 minutes. I can also do this in a crock pot.
Right.
So you put it in a crock pot, put a little bit of water in there, and you leave it whole if you're doing it in the crock pot.
So it just,
And it just kind of steams it.
and then you take it, like it makes it soft, the outer
Exactly,
shell, to where you can deal with it without having to, and that's easier, really.
It really is easy, and then you just, you cut it open, and then you just use a fork to just scrape down the sides of this, and it's going to start looking like spaghetti noodles.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so simple though.
What a great way to eat, lighter, healthier, and you can find all of these in your produce section at Ingles. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sure I will be trying some of these recipes. I've been trying to, eat a little bit lighter.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
I'm around food all the time. We are around food, but what a great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Stay with us. More What's in Season at Ingles Markets coming up with Chef Abby J and her guest. We'll be right back.
At Ingles, we know the ever-present struggle of what am I going to make for dinner this week? That's why we started the Ingles Table. It's a website that brings the best chefs and food experts right into your kitchen. You can sort through hundreds of recipes for every occasion, watch how-to videos, and print shopping lists to take to the store. It's all waiting for you at inglestable.com.
Until next time, I'll see you online.
Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
Thank you for joining us for What's in Season here at Appalachian Harvest. We'd like to thank Robin Robbins. We'd also like to thank all the hardworking farmers that make this contribution and that have this great partnership with Ingles Markets. Make sure you also go by the store and check out the delicious recipes at the Ingles Table magazine and all the different produce that you can find to make these recipes. So until next time, we'll see you then for What's in Season.